I'm Sasikala Madurangi Opatha. Currently, I am following my master's degree at International Christian University, Tokyo, Japan. I have been working under Ministry of Education, Sri Lanka, and my study is also based on the general education system in Sri Lanka. My research title is The Effect of Flipped Classroom Model in Developing English Language Skills of High School Students, a study on Gampaha Education Zone in Sri Lanka. So I would like to introduce my research topic briefly at the beginning. We all know English is known as a global language and it is considered very important in human resource development of developing countries, especially non-English speaking countries like Sri Lanka. However, a labor demand survey conducted by the Department of Census and Statistics in Sri Lanka in 2017 identified the deficiency in English skills is a significant barrier to the employability of young people in Sri Lanka. However, English is taught in Sri Lankan general education system as a second language from grade 1 to 13. And students face two major examinations during that time, a general certificate of education ordinary level examination in grade 11 and general certificate of education advanced level examination in grade 13. English language is one of the compulsory subjects in both of these examinations. Additionally, there are different efforts have been taken to improve English language skills of students. One of the recent projects is a General Education Modernization Project, simply we call this GEMP, in association with World Bank and counterpart with Government of Sri Lanka. The other part of this study is related to flipped classroom model, which is one of the approaches under blended learning. You all know blended learning combines both technology and traditional teaching. Flipped classroom method is a reversed version of traditional teaching. In traditional teaching, teacher delivers lectures during the class time and homeworks are given to complete at the home. However, in flipped approach, online learning with maybe videos, audios, or other given materials prior to the class to self-study. And class time is used for active learning with group discussions, presentations, and other student-centered methods. So I would like to briefly present the problem statement of this study. You can see here the pass rate pattern of general English subject in the GCE advanced level examination I mentioned earlier for the last 10 years from 2016 to 2025. There is a kind of stagnation in between 2019 and 2025 with fluctuation between 52% to 59%. So other than this stagnation, serious problem is more than 40% of the students couldn't achieve required English skills even after 13 years of learning English. Also, according to a study done in 2021, it is found that English teachers of Sri Lankan government schools use many teaching methodologies and some of them have been proved less effective. One of the less effective methods identified is the traditional teacher-centered approaches. We all know that this kind of teaching restricts the active participation, engagement, and live language practice of students, which is very important for language skill development. A flipped classroom approach recently has been identified and proved in studies as a better alternative to traditional teaching approach. However, there were no studies found in Sri Lankan context, especially general education system, that examine the effects of the flipped classroom model on English language learning for high school students. So this study conducted by selecting 10 schools out of 67 high schools in Gampaha Education Zone, Sri Lanka. So these schools were randomly selected and two parallel classes in one school taught by the same teacher selected as experimental group and control group. So accordingly, there were 10 classes as experimental group and 10 classes as control group. So both groups are given same pre-test prior the intervention, and experimental group was given lesson videos prior the class and asked them to study the videos and get ready for the lesson next day. At the school, discussions, collaborative learning, and group works are done with the facilitation of the teacher. And control group practice the traditional approach with teacher-centered learning during class time. After the first 4 modules of general English curriculum, both groups were given the same post-test to analyze the most effective teaching approach with the AAD's flipped classroom approach or traditional teaching. This study was conducted based on the hypothesis that fifth classroom model has a positive significant effect on enhancing English language outcomes compared to the traditional classroom approach. At the beginning of the data analysis, a normal distribution of data was analyzed using histograms and QQ plots separately for pre-control, post-control, pre-experimental, and post-experimental groups. You can see here the QQ plots points closely adhering to the reference line that indicates the normal distribution of the data for all 4 groups. And you can see here descriptive statistics of the study, experimental group with 348 students and control group with 329 students. It is obvious the mean difference between pre-test and post-test for experimental group mean has increased from 30.7 to 36.8, and for control group mean has significantly declined from slightly declined from 30.79 to 30.16. And also, Levens test done for the pre-test scores at the beginning to confirm the homogeneity of variance. It received the p-value greater than 0.05 that indicates the assumption of homogeneity of variance is satisfied for pre-test scores of control and experimental groups. Then paired sample t-test was implemented for within group analysis. You can see here significant p-values for both experimental and control groups. However, with minus t-values and minus mean difference for control group, that indicates a significant increase of scores from pre-test to post-test in experimental group, while a significant decrease for control group. And then two-way mixed ANOVA was done for group effect, time effect, and also interaction effect of group and time. The analysis revealed statistically significant effects. You can see here p-values less than 0.001 for all the factors. So as well as guess value for the interaction effect is 0.043, that indicates a moderate practical significance of the intervention. From these findings of a statistical analysis, it can be concluded that fifth classroom approach, fifth classroom model is a highly effective instructional approach for improving English language outcomes of high school students in Sri Lanka. And also there are plenty of potential to expand this research and further studies. It is important to separately study the effect of fifth classroom model on speaking, listening, reading and writing skills of English. And also this study concluded around only for 4 months. However, it is important to explore the long-term effect of the fifth classroom model on language proficiency. Maybe at least for 1 year. And also fifth classroom model can implement in different educational contexts, like for different age groups, different grades, for different subjects other than general English to find its effectiveness in this context. So these are some of my references. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I would like to answer. Thank you very much.